I'm so excited for this video. In today's video, much like the video I did a few weeks ago, which was a tour of my bookshelf where I showed you every single book that I own and it was all in colour order, this is going to be a tour of my film shelf. So I collect books because I am an avid reader, always have been, love reading, and I also collect films because I love film. I love watching film. I did a filmmaking masters. I want to make film. Like, I just love film so much. It's one of the things that brings me so much joy. Love film so much. And I also collect DVDs because I want to. I want to collect the films that I've seen that I love so much. And I have all these DVDs on a shelf and they're all displayed, color coordinated. And I'm going to be going through the DVDs that I have on my shelf for you today. This is going to be part one because I feel like it's going to have to be two parts, just like the book video, because I have a fair few DVDs. I'm not sure how many I have. I haven't actually counted. I think maybe in video two, I'll give a rundown of how many I've got and how many I've watched. I have watched most of them. I feel like I've watched all of them actually, because usually I don't buy a DVD unless I've watched it. So most of these are watched, I think, unless I'm wrong. But yeah, I'm just going to be going through every DVD in my possession and chatting about it a little bit. There will be some that I can go on for forever, and there will be some that are just, here's this DVD. We'll just see how it goes, but let's start. And I believe, because I'm kind of doing half of the shelf, I believe we are starting in kind of like grey. Is the colour right now? Yeah, grey. So these are DVDs with a grey spine, if you will. So let's just get right into it. And we are starting off so strong with the DVD Camp Rock 2, The Final Jam. So it's not even the first Camp Rock, it's Camp Rock 2. I don't actually have the first Camp Rock in my possession, I don't believe, so I should probably buy it, but I believe I saw this in a charity shop and I was like, I want Camp Rock 2. Let's have it. And now I have it. And I was a Disney girl. I grew up watching Disney Channel, loved Disney Channel. I watched all the movies, most of the shows. So I love High School Musical, I love Camp Rock, and I love a lot of the Disney Channel original movies. So that is why I have Camp Rock 2. I do think Camp Rock 1 is better, but I only have Camp Rock 2 in my possession. Next up, not a movie, but we have Gossip Girl Season 2 Volume 1. This is so random. I believe this was also from a charity shop, because why have I just bought like a random point of the season? I don't have like the whole series. I would love to have it, but I don't. But yes, if you watched my top 10 favourite American TV shows, this was number 1. So it should be no surprise why I have Gossip Girl. But yeah, it's just a really random point in the show. But yes, I love Gossip Girl, so that's why I have it. Next up, back with the Disney Channel original movies, we have Starstruck. This is one of my favourite Disney Channel original movies. I love it so much. I love Sterling Knight, who is this guy right here. I loved him in Sunny with a Chance, and I love him in this. So good. Just such a good film, such a good Disney Channel original. Honestly, like, I watch it today and I still love it and I still feel the exact same thing. And also the music in this is banging. It's so good. So yeah, would highly recommend if you want to watch a Disney Channel original movie. I think this is one of the best, so here we go. Next up, a classic, we have Mean Girls. This is the original Mean Girls with Lindsay Lohan. I do not have Mean Girls 2 or the musical in my possession because I don't like them enough to have them in my possession. But yeah, Mean Girls came out in like 2005 or something, and I'm pretty sure I watched it when it came out. So I was literally like 5, and it is because I have older sisters and they watched it and I watched it with them. And it's honestly a film that me and my sisters grew up on, basically. Like, we quoted it to each other all the time. We found it so funny and we loved it, and I still love it. It is such a good film, and I think it's probably the best chick flick of all time, I would say. So yeah, that is Mean Girls. Another Disney Channel original movie, we have 16 Wishes. This is another one which I think is so good and probably like really underrated. It's so good. It's essentially Is it like that at all? I don't know. I was gonna say it's like 16 Candles, the Molly Ringwald movie, but is it? I can't really remember what happens in that movie. I don't know. I don't know. But essentially 16 Candles is this girl turns 16 and she gets 16 birthday candles, and she finds out that every time she lights one and makes a wish, it comes true. So that's what happens, and it's so good. Debbie Ryan, icon, 10 out of 10. Again, another one that I would recommend. I also watched this on my 16th birthday because I was like, I have to, like, I can't not watch 16 Candles on my 16th birthday. So I did, and yeah, it's just so good. It's iconic, basically. Now, these next few I'm gonna do together, and that is because it is a lot of Barbie movies. And I believe these are all the Barbie movies in my possession. So I got like this box set for Christmas one year. But essentially what we have here is we have Barbie and the Magic of oh my goodness, why can't I say this one? Barbie and the Magic of Pegasus, which is such a good one. Love that one. We have Barbie as the Island Princess. I have seen it once, but I don't really remember because I was a bit, I don't know, I wasn't paying attention, I don't think, on that one. We have Barbie Rapunzel, a banger. This is one of the first ones I remember watching, so good. Barbie 12 Dancing Princesses. I've actually never seen this. I have it on DVD and I've never seen it, and loads of people say it's their favourite, so I feel like I should probably give it a watch. So there's one I haven't seen. I haven't seen all the movies here. Barbie and the Nutcracker, again, one that I remember watching like as one of the first ones I ever watched. And a classic, absolute banger, Barbie, Princess and the Pauper. I love it so much. So yeah, I got a Barbie box set a few years back because, as well as like Disney, I also grew up on Barbie and all those films, and I loved them so much. And yeah, I couldn't tell you which one my favourite is, but as a kid, I really loved the Barbie Diaries, I think it's called, which I don't actually have on DVD. I really loved that one, and I still think it might be one of my favourites, but I love Princess and the Pauper, I love Pegasus, I love Rapunzel, so they're probably all up there. But as I said, I have not seen 12 Dancing Princesses, and I haven't seen some of the newer ones. I have seen all the Fairytopias, both of them. No, there's 3, isn't there? I've seen all 3. Third one, not for me, but the first 2 are good, and I think I have them on DVD somewhere in my collection because they didn't come with this box set. So those are also up there as well. But yeah, I just love Barbie so much. That's why I have so many of the DVDs. Next, another one I actually have not properly watched is Raise Your Voice. My mum got this for like me and my sister when it came out. Must have been years and years ago. And I never properly watched it because I think I found it really sad and I didn't finish it. I stopped watching because essentially I don't know the full plot, but I know that like this girl, you know, Hilary Duff, her older brother dies, and then like she quits music, and then it's all about her getting back into music because like she quit it because of her grief. And I just remember as a kid I had a real big aversion to sad things. Like I did not like to watch things that made me sad, like because I was just like, why? I don't want to feel sad. Now as an adult, I love watching things that made me sad, but as a kid I did not want to watch things that made me sad, so I didn't watch this whole thing because I was just sad. But I do want to rewatch it because I think now as an adult watching it I could appreciate it more probably. But yeah, that's another one that I have not seen. Like I said, we have Barbie Fairytopia, so this is number 1. Number 1 is good, but I do think I prefer number 2 because it's just so fun. Because number 2 is Mermaidia, where they go underwater and they go on this big adventure underwater, and I think that is just so fun. So I think I prefer number 2, but number 1 is iconic. You've got Bibble, who I love. Yeah, it is really, really good. So Barbie Fairytopia and Barbie Mermaidia are definitely Barbie films that are up there on my list. Next up, we have Bratz. This is the live action Bratz, as well as Barbie and Disney. I also grew up on Bratz. Clearly, I just had a lot of toys. But yeah, I grew up on Bratz. I loved Bratz, and I was so excited when this film came out, and I loved it, and I still love it to this day. So many people hate it, and I don't get it. I think it's a really good film. Like, I think it's a really good film for kids and tweens. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just silly and fun, and I love it. I think it's so good. I think it's got some iconic scenes. Yeah, I really enjoy it. Even as a 24-year-old, I could watch it today and enjoy it. And there are scenes that make me cry still to this day. So, you know, I don't care what the haters say. I love Bratz. And I think this one came with free necklaces, which I don't have anymore, but it came with free BFF necklaces. But yes, I love Bratz, and I don't care what anyone else says. I love the live action Bratz. I think it's really good. Next up, we have a very weird one. We have Doctor Who, and this is like an episode. It's a feature length. It's a Christmas special. So it says Voyage of the Damned 2007 feature length Christmas special. Gosh, 2007. I really liked Doctor Who as a kid, mainly David Tennant's Doctor Who. I did watch a bit of Matt Smith, and I did watch a bit of who came before David. I think it's Christopher is his name. Yeah, so I really liked Doctor Who. I did stop after Matt Smith though. I didn't really like Peter Capaldi, that's his name, isn't it? I didn't really like him, so I did stop after Matt. But yeah, I love Doctor Who, and I just remember loving this special, and for some reason we had it on DVD, so I was like, that's mine now. And essentially this special is, they're on Titanic, and it's like it's gonna sink because it's Titanic, and then there's also these angels that are trying to kill you, and then you've got bloody her face. Is that Kylie Minogue? Yes, you've got Kylie Minogue plays, I don't even know, a woman on the Titanic, and they fall in love, and yeah, it's just so good. Like, what more could I want? I love the Titanic movie. I find the Titanic history and everything about it very interesting. So if you make a Doctor Who episode about the Titanic, I'm gonna love it. So yeah, that's what I've got. I've got the Christmas special about the Titanic, which I should probably watch this Christmas. Petition for me watching this Christmas. Like, that will be really fun, I feel like. But yes, that is my Doctor Who DVD that I have. Next we have High School Musical. Like I said, love High School Musical so much. I'm not sure if I have all of them. I think and hope that I do. But yes, this is High School Musical 1. Absolutely iconic. If you were to ask me my favorite High School Musical, or the one I think is the best, I probably could not answer you, because I actually think they're all so good, and I think they all have such good attributes. Like, this one is just classic and iconic, like, and it makes me cry as well. Like, it's so good. Number 2 is like iconic, and it's most people's favorites, which I do get because it is really fun and also iconic as well. But then I think number 3 is also so good, because like number 3 just makes me cry so much because it's like the end, but I also think it was really good, and like they'd up the production because it was like an actual released in cinema movie, which I went to go see, whereas these were released on TV on Disney Channel, so like the production is less. But yeah, I don't know, they're all so good. I love High School Musical so much, and I will continue rewatching it forever. One of my greatest sadnesses is that my boyfriend hates High School Musical, and I don't know why. Like, how could you hate High School Musical? It's so good. But I said to him, like, I think you've just got bad childhood memories, and I think we just need to rewatch it and you'll realise it's actually so good, because it is actually so good and enjoyable and fun. And I was obsessed with it as a kid, like so obsessed with High School Musical as a 7-year-old, like you won't believe. So yeah, High School Musical, I will always have these DVDs in my collection. Next we have The Imitation Game, and I really liked this movie when it came out. It's essentially about Alan Turing, who is one of the code breakers who made, I think it's called the Enigma machine. He made this machine that could essentially decode messages that the Germans were sending to each other, which really helped in the war and helped us like save lives basically in World War II. And it's a really interesting story. It's a really good film. I think it's devastatingly sad, because if you know anything about Alan Turing, like his life was just really sad basically, so it really upsets me. But I think Benedict does a really good job, and yeah, I still love The Imitation Game. It's been a long time since I watched it, but I only have fond memories, and I should probably rewatch it. So yeah, that's The Imitation Game. Next up we have Fantastic Mr. Fox. This is probably my favourite Wes Anderson movie. It's so good. Like, we all know Fantastic Mr. Fox is just so good. It's a beautiful movie, it's made very well, it's funny, it's a great story. I love it, and I want to rewatch it this autumn because it gives me autumnal vibes. I feel like it's just the orange, it just gives me really autumnal vibes. So hopefully I will rewatch it this autumn because I love it very much. Yeah. Next up we have Bratz Rock Angels. So as I said, I grew up on Bratz. I grew up on the live action movie, but also the cartoon movies, although I haven't actually seen many of them, I realised. And my favourite, definitely, that was like, I'm rewatching this forever and ever, was Bratz Rock Angels. I love this movie so much. Iconic, the fashion, the storyline, the music. oh, it's so good. It's so good. Bratz Rock Angels is so good. It's my favourite Bratz movie. As I've said, I have not watched many of the cartoon ones, but I do think if I did watch them all, this would still be my fave. It's so, so, so good. So that's Bratz Rock Angels. Next up, I feel like all these different films that I'm pulling out, they're just, some of them are so different from each other, but I hope you're really getting a clear idea of like my taste, how I'm complex, like, do you know what I mean? Like there's so many different types of things. Although, I don't know, I do think because this is half of my film shelf, right? Because this is only half of the film shelf, I feel like this is the like lighter half, and by lighter I mean like color palette. Like this is pink to white, so this is like pink, orange, yellow, white. These are all the colors that these films are. So generally, if you make a film and you make the film case, the more upbeat Disney Bratz girly movies are gonna be these films. So this is the half of my shelf that is like that, whereas I feel like when we get to part 2, where it's gonna be the greens and the blues and the blacks, like of the film covers, it's gonna get a bit more grittier. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's not. Yeah, so just bear that in mind in case you see all these and you're like, gosh, like she's a certain person. Like there is a whole other shelf. Although I am a certain person, I am definitely. I'm a person who loves these movies because I do so much. Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is I have a very complex taste, I would say, of what movies I enjoy and what I find good. And I think there's definitely a mixture of liking the film craft and enjoying movies that, you know, elevate the craft. And then there's definitely a whole side of me that, film taste wise, that is built on nostalgia. Yeah, there's this whole side of my film taste that is definitely based on nostalgia and based on films that make me nostalgic and make me think of my childhood and all that stuff. But all that being said, let's continue on with my film shelf tour. And next up we have West Side Story, the original one. This is one of my favorite it's my favorite musical of all time. I love it so much. I love it dearly. It's the best thing. It's the best thing. I love it so much, and I actually do a video on my channel comparing this one with the remake, and yeah, I just love this movie so much. I love the plot, I love the visuals, I love the acting, and I love the music. So that is West Side Story. Next up, right back in the trenches, we have 17 again. This is one of those like chick flicks, I suppose, that I watched young and loved and still love to this day. It's iconic, it's good. You got Zac Efron, you've got Sterling Knight in it as well, he plays his son. But basically 17 Again is about a man who turns 17 again because he's unhappy with his life and basically goes through some life lessons because of it. And the guy is Matthew Perry, who then turns into Zac Efron because that was him when he was 17. And yeah, I love it. I think it's so fun. It's just a fun little chick flick. It definitely has some interesting plot points, like for example his daughter like wants to sleep with him like when he's 17 and she doesn't know it's her dad, and that's a bit weird. But yeah, no, I love 17 Again. I think it's so good. Yeah, would watch again many times and have done many times. Next up we have Pocahontas. Now you will see throughout my film collection I have a few Disney movies, and that's because I love Disney movies, but also because I stole all my family's Disney movies. So I have all of them. So every Disney movie that my family has ever bought, I have. And it's quite a lot because we are a family who watched Disney growing up and enjoyed Disney. So here, first one, we have Pocahontas. Next we have another random Gossip Girl section, and it is the complete 4th season, so at least this one's actually complete. But yeah, as I said about the first one, favourite show, so of course I have some of the DVDs. I would like to get the whole thing on DVD, but I don't currently have it. I believe this is my last Gossip Girl DVD, so this is all I have. Next up we have the Winnie the Pooh movie collection, and it has the movie Winnie the Pooh, the Tigger movie, and the Heffalump movie. And I loved these movies as a kid. I thought they were so good, and I think they probably are so good. And I saw this at, I'm pretty sure, a charity shop or like Poundland or something, and was like, I really want that because I want to rewatch them, and also I want to show them to my niece. I want to show them to kids if I have any. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I just think they're such cute, lovely movies. Winnie the Pooh is just so great, and I love it a lot. So I have 3 of the movies which I loved as a kid. So yeah, definitely nostalgia here, just fun memories basically. Next up, we have the movie I Love You to Death. Now this is a comedy, I believe from maybe the 80s or the 90s. No, it must have been the 90s. I think it's from the 90s. And it's based on a true story, and it's based on the story of this woman who tried to kill her husband after he cheated on her, but it went wrong and she didn't kill him. And then, yeah, she didn't kill him. And this is a comedy, a retelling of that story, and it stars Keanu Reeves playing like the funniest version of him I've ever seen in my life. And then it has River Phoenix as well, playing, I think he plays someone who works at the restaurant, because they own a pizza restaurant, which is why there's a pizza here with a knife in it. And this film is just so funny. Like, it's so funny. It's just this woman trying to kill her husband, and it just keeps going wrong, and she enlists the help of people. Like, Keanu Reeves is like someone she's paying to kill him, and it just all goes wrong. And I just found it so funny. Like, I think the actors in this did great character work and just made it really funny, and I really like this movie. So yeah, that's I Love You to Death. Next up, we have Baby Driver, a bit controversial. I did get this before, you know, things about Ansel Elgort came out, although can I really say things like that when, you know, Kevin Spacey is in this movie, and I knew that from the start. Yeah, I really liked Baby Driver. It sucks when like you really like something and then it turns out the people in it suck basically, but I think it is a really good film. I think it's really clever. I think the editing is really good and the use of music is really good, and I just really like this movie, so I do have it in my possession, as problematic as that is. Yeah, I really enjoy it. Next up, we have Kill Your Darlings, and this stars, as you can see on the cover, it stars Daniel Radcliffe and Dane DeHaan. It also stars the guy who plays Dexter in Dexter. I'm not sure of his name, but it stars him as well, and a few other people. I'm pretty sure Elizabeth, what's her name? I've forgotten her name. The woman who plays Wanda. Is that Elizabeth Olsen? Is that her name? Because she's an Olsen sister, isn't she? I think it's Elizabeth Olsen. She's in it as well, so like, you know, it has some people in it. And essentially it's about Allen Ginsberg, who is was a writer and poet, and about like his time at college, university basically. And I really enjoyed this film. I find it fascinating, so interesting. It's so interesting to go into the history because it's based on a true story, and I just find it so interesting. So like, I don't know if this is spoilers, it might be a little bit, but basically this has been out for a long time though. Dane's character, Lucien Carr, who was a real person, he killed I think it was his professor, who was played by Dexter, and got found out that he did it, and essentially didn't serve, I don't think he served any time, because as their defense, they said that it was an honor slaying is the term, I believe. And essentially what that means is that it was okay because his professor was coming on to him, so it's okay that he killed him. And essentially it's just this whole thing that's rooted obviously in homophobia, and yeah, he got away with it. And like, this is a true thing that happened, and it's so interesting to like watch it. And also, yeah, all the readings surrounding this movie are also really interesting. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. I found it really intriguing, interesting. It's very like dark academia. A lot of people, because it's Daniel Radcliffe, a lot of people were like, oh my god, this is like Harry and Malfoy because Dane's blonde. Yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I think Kill Your Darlings is really good, and it brings light to something which is crazy, like the fact that this guy was murdered and like people didn't care basically. Yeah, it's crazy story. Next up, we have Maze Runner Scorch Trials. So this is the second Maze Runner film, and I will die on the hill that Maze Runner is such a good series. I think it's such a good dystopian series, and I don't care what people think. I love Maze Runner. I read the books, I really like them, and I love the Maze Runner films, and I watched every single one in the cinema, and I cried my eyes out to every single one, and I love them. So that's why I have the Scorched Trials on DVD. I believe I have all of them. I could be wrong, but I think I have all the Maze Runners because I love them so much. I think they're so good. I definitely love Hunger Games more, but I think Scorched Trials is probably Maze Runner is second for me after Hunger Games, to be honest. Next up, we have My Scene Goes Hollywood, the movie. So like I said, I watched Bratz and I watched Barbie. I also was obsessed with My Scene. So this was a line of Barbies that was brought out kind of to rival Bratz. Like they're very inspired by Bratz basically. And they took this line and they made they used to do webisodes of these dolls. So like they had basically a TV show, but like a really short one because it was webisodes, chronicling the lives of these girls. And then they made this like short feature, which I've also got in my possession. And then they made a full movie, which is this one, My Scene Goes Hollywood. There's actually 2 short features actually, which I do believe I have both in my possession because that's how much I like them. And I love this movie. I love all the My Scene content. I think it's so fun. I really like the characters. To me, it really feels like Sex and the City for kids, or like Gossip Girl for kids. Like they're set in New York. It's this group of friends and they're just like living their life. So good. So yeah, that's My Scene, and this is My Scene Goes Hollywood. Next up, we have The Princess Diaries 2, and I actually prefer this one to Princess Diaries 1 because I grew up on number 2 because of the time I was born and the time that the movies came out. This was more in my time frame than number 1 was, and I love this movie. I've watched number 1 since, because I watched number 2 first, and I just prefer number 2. Like, it's just so fun. I think, yeah, it's just so fun. So many fun things happen in this movie and I love it. And you have Chris Pine and you have Julie Andrews and Anne Hathaway. It's just so good. So yeah, I love Princess Diaries 2. One of my favorite chick flicks, definitely. Another Disney film, we have Mulan 2. I actually prefer Mulan 2 to Mulan 1 because in Mulan 2 you get the 3 princesses who are here. You get the 3 princesses, and I loved them as a little girl. Like, those 3 princesses, yeah, I love them so much, and the songs that they sing, loved it. So yeah, that's Mulan 2. Next up, we have Little Miss Sunshine. I love this film so much. It's just so good. Little Miss Sunshine is essentially about this family who the little girl in the family is going to a pageant, and they all go on a road trip to take her to this pageant in their car. And essentially every person in this family is having issues, and we explore them all on this journey, and it's so good. And you've got Steve Carell is in this, and you've got Paul Dano, who I love him so much, and you've got Toni Collette, and you've got Alan Arkin and Greg Kinnear and Abigail Breslin is a little girl. And yeah, this film is just so good. It's so funny and touching, and I think feel good, strangely, because like they kind of are like a family of losers, but then by the end you're just so happy. Like, yeah, it's so good. I feel like this is one of those movies that most people would watch and like I don't think you'd find many people that would be like, I hate that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like you leave this movie and you're just happy. Like, it's really feel good despite the fact that they are all kind of losers. So yeah, I love Little Miss Sunshine so much. Next up, another one I haven't actually properly watched, Lemonade Mouth. So this is another Disney Channel original movie that I did start to watch, but I don't think I ever fully like sat down and properly watched it. Like, I couldn't tell you exactly what happens. I remember like my mom and my siblings watching it, but I never, for some reason, I just never really watched it. But I want to, and I mean, it's in my possession, and one of my friends loves this movie, so I'm like, I need to watch Lemonade Mouth because I have it. Like, why haven't I seen it yet? So I will watch it and get back to you, but I've heard things online about it which makes me feel like I'm gonna like it, because, you know, just a cheesy like Disney Channel original movie. I feel like I'm gonna love it. Next up, we have Emma. This is one, I think it might be my favorite actually. My favorite period drama adaptation of all time. I love it so much. It's the version of Emma that Anya Taylor-Joy plays Emma, and you have Johnny Flynn as Mr. Knightley, which I love so much, and you have Mia Goth, and you have like loads of people from Sex Education. Just such a good movie, and I do have a video on my channel all about why this movie is a masterpiece if you would like to hear more, but it's so good. I love it so much. I love the novel Emma, and I think this is the best adaptation of it, and probably the best Jane Austen adaptation ever, and it's directed by Autumn de Wilde, and I love it. Next up, back with the My Scene movies, like features, we have Jammin' in Jamaica. So this is one of the ones that they made that's like, I think it's like 60 minutes long, so it's not an official movie, but it came, I believe you'd get it with a doll, so like you'd get a doll that had the outfit and then you'd get the movie. And I loved this movie as a kid, and I still love it rewatching it now. Like, it's just so good. It's just, you know, they go to Jamaica and there's drama and it's just fun, and I love it. And yeah, it's just nostalgia for me. I love it very, very much. Next up, we have the film Beautiful Boy, starring Steve Carell and Timothée Chalamet. I love this film so much, but it's also like one of the saddest films I've ever seen in my life. It's gut-wrenching. When I first watched it in the cinema, I was beside myself, to be honest. It's so sad. It's essentially about this boy who's dealing with addiction and his dad trying to help him through that. And it's devastating, and it really shows the devastating effects of addiction, the fact that it is a disease, how the effect it has on the individual, but also on their family. Yeah, it's a devastating movie, but it's also, I would say, like, it's uplifting because, spoiler alert, like, this is a true story, and the boy that it's based on managed to recover and managed to, like, fight his addiction, which is very inspiring, but it is still a devastating story. And Timothy and Steve do such an amazing job. They both break my heart so much, and it is just such a good movie. Next up, another chick flick, we have Aquamarine, another chick flick that I watched as a kid. Just loved it. It's about a mermaid who washes up on a beach, and these two girls find her and they all become besties, and they're trying to get Aquamarine to fall in love with someone, because I think if she falls in love she can stay as a human or something like that. I can't remember, but yeah, such a good movie. Emma Roberts is one of the girls and Sarah Paxton is the mermaid, and yeah, it's just so good. Iconic chick flick, one of my faves as well. Next up, another chick flick, we have Uptown Girls. Now, Uptown Girls is about this woman in New York who realizes she has no money and she's in loads of debt, so she has to take a job looking after this little girl who is like a clean freak essentially, and she becomes like her nanny, I guess, and they start off rocky, and it's all about them like developing a relationship and becoming besties basically. And I love this movie. Like, it's Brittany Murphy is the woman, and then Dakota Fanning's the little girl, and it's just so good. It's really heartfelt. The visuals are so lovely. The fashion is really nice, and yeah, I love Uptown Girls. Just another chick flick that I love and hold in very high regard. Next up, and this is the ugliest cover of my life. I don't know why they chose this cover, but this is the film A Walk to Remember. Like, look at that cover. That is horrible. She doesn't even look like that in the movie. Like, Jamie does not. Anyway, whatever. Disgusting covers aside, Walk to Remember is such a good movie. It's a movie based on a book by Nicholas Sparks, who was the author of The Notebook. You can imagine the content of this movie. But yeah, it's a teen movie. I would describe it as quite similar to The Fault in Our Stars, something like that. I love it so much. It's about two kids who fall in love, and then essentially the girl reveals something, and then you're just devastated basically, and that's the movie. But I love it so much. I think it's so good. I love Mandy Moore, who plays the girl, and the guy Shane West, who plays Landon, is really good. Yeah, I love this movie so much, and it makes me cry my eyes out every single time. Next up, another Disney Channel original movie. We have the Hannah Montana movie. Iconic movie, love it so much. I loved Hannah Montana, like the TV show, growing up, and I loved her music. So when the movie came out, I was very excited and I loved it. I think it's such a good movie, and I think it holds up now, to be honest. I rewatched it and I had just as good a time as I did when I was a kid, and I love it so much. Another Disney Channel original movie that should definitely be rewatched, and that is definitely up there. Next up, we have the film If I Stay. This is based off a book, and it's essentially about a girl who gets into a car accident with her family, and essentially, spoilers, her whole family passes away, and she's the only one who like is surviving, and she is essentially like a ghost, and she's making the choice of, do I stay in this world where none of my family are now, like none of my immediate family, or do I die as well and go with them to heaven or whatever? And I really like this movie. I don't know why. Like, I don't know why. It has a chokehold on me. It hits something in my brain and I enjoy it. Like, it's like I'm sad, but I feel good about it. Like, I don't know. I really like this movie, and it's like a comfort movie for me, which is a bit weird because it is like really sad, but I love it, and I rewatch it sometimes just to like feel something, I guess. I love it. Yeah, I really like If I Stay. Next up, we have The Book Thief. This is based on a book, and the book is phenomenal, and I think the film is really good as well. So The Book Thief, the book, is basically narrated by Deaf, and it's about a little German girl in World War II in Germany, and about kind of like life as a civilian in World War II in Germany. And it's so good, and it's devastating, and I recommend reading the book, and I also recommend the film because I think the film is really good as well. And I love it, really enjoy it. It's really good for a good cry because, as I said, it is devastating, like it's narrated by Deaf. Yeah, I really love The Book Thief. Next up, we have the movie Now and Then, and I always describe this movie as the female version of Stand By Me because that's what it reminds me of, although there are no dead bodies involved, nothing like that. But it's essentially about a group of girls who are like interspersed on the cover. It's about this group of friends and about their childhood basically, and then you see them as adults because one of them is having a baby. So like this cover is like them grown up and them little, so you've got all like the little girls and then their adult counterparts basically. I love this movie. It's just childhood, girlhood, very fun. I believe it's either an 80s or a 90s movie, so like it's a little bit older, but I really enjoy it. It's really fun, and it's got Christina Ricci in it. She's one of the little girls, and yeah, it's very good, a very enjoyable time. Next up, we have an absolute banger. We have Little Women, Greta Gerwig's version from 2019. Little Women, the book, is one of my favourite books of all time, so I was very excited to have another movie adaptation of it, and this one is so good. It's so good. I love the Winona Ryder one as well. They're definitely very different movies, and I can see the good things in both. Like, they're both, I love both of them. I love this one and I love the Winona one. I think the casting was really good, the acting, the way that they tell the story with like going back and forward in time. I really like that. So yeah, I love Little Women, and I want to do a video about it soon, and hopefully I will, because I love it. It's so good. Such a good book, and the movie adaptations that have been made of it and TV shows and all of that, I love it. So yeah, that's Little Women. Next up, one of my faves, we have Mummy. Mummy is a film about a woman in Canada who has a very, I don't know if the right word's disturbed, maybe it is, disturbed / disruptive son, and so he's in an institution because she essentially can't deal with him. She's a single mum and she can't deal with him, but essentially he gets kicked out and she has to now look after him again, which she finds hard because she's a single mum and she's always struggling for money and all of this stuff, and it's about her trying to deal with that. But also in this movie there's this interesting element, kind of like dystopian element, where like there's this law that like doesn't exist in real life, that like if your child is becoming too much, you can just give it over to the state and absolve yourself of like responsibility, and that's not a real thing in Canada, but this film makes it a thing. So then this mum is also battling with that fact of like, I could just, like, if I can't do this, I could just hand him over, and battling with like the morality of that, I suppose. And yeah, this movie, I love it, and it has one of the most beautiful sequences I have ever seen in film, so I would highly recommend Mummy. Next up, we have the film Jackie. I love this film so much. It essentially chronicles the few days after JFK's assassination from Jackie's point of view, which I found so interesting because I do feel like, at least for me and like at school, we never talked about Jackie. We never thought about that. But you forget that like she was in the car, like she was there when he was shot. Like, it's crazy. And it's all about, yeah, the few days after and what happened. and Natalie Portman plays Jackie. I think she does an amazing job, and I just really love this film. It's beautiful cinematography. It's devastating, of course, because of the subject matter, and I really love it. I really enjoy it. Yeah, 10 out of 10 for Jackie. Next up, we have the movie Little Manhattan, which is a movie starring Josh Hutcherson when he was just a little tiny boy, and essentially chronicles this little boy having his first ever crush on a girl called Rosemary Telesco. And as a child, I was obsessed with this film. I don't know why I was obsessed. And me and my next door neighbor, who I was like best friends with, were obsessed, and we'd rewatch this film all the time, and we just loved it. We found it hilarious. It is a comedy. Yeah, we loved it, and it still holds up now for me. I think it's so good, and I actually think now watching it as an adult, I realised that there's actually way more to the story than just a little boy having his first crush, basically. But it's so cute. It's so funny. Josh Hutcherson is so cute, and the girl who plays Rosemary is very good. Yeah, just a very nice, wholesome movie, and I love it a lot. Next up, we have the movie Flipped. I actually rewatched this recently, and it's so damn good. Why is it so good? Flipped is directed by Rob Reiner, who made my favorite film, which is Stand By Me. And Flipped is essentially about a boy and a girl. I think it's set in like the 60s, and it's about a boy and a girl who essentially, the girl gets a crush on the boy for like a few years, and then when the boy finally likes her back, she doesn't have a crush on him anymore, and it's just about their relationship, and it's so cute. It's based on a book which I haven't actually read, but I've heard the book is pretty good as well, so I'll probably read that at some point. Yeah, I love Flipped. It's so cute. It's such an easy watch, but it's also really heartfelt. Like, there are really heartfelt moments that just make me cry. Like, it's really good. I really enjoy it. Yeah, I love Flipped. Next up, another chick flick. We have Just Like Heaven with Mark Ruffalo and Reese Witherspoon. I love Just Like Heaven. I watched it as a kid with my mum, and yeah, I always used to watch it, and I just love it. It's essentially about this woman who gets in a car accident and she's in a coma, and when that happens, they rent out her flat to Mark, and she's a ghost in the flat, and she starts haunting him because she's like, what are you doing in my flat? Because she doesn't realize that she's, you know, in a coma, and that she's essentially like a ghost. And it's basically about them falling in love and about him trying to save her, and it's just really cute. I really like this one. It's such a good rom-com, chick flick, whatever you want to call it. Very good, very heartfelt, and I really enjoy it. Next, we have School of Rock. I really enjoyed this film as a kid, but I do think rewatching it now, if I did, I wouldn't like it as much as I did as a kid. I don't think it holds up as much as, yeah, it once did. But, you know, good memories. I did really like School of Rock. It's a pretty iconic movie as well. Okay, we've got about 5 films left for this part 1 of my film tour, so let's get right into them. And next up, we have High School Musical 3. As I said, I think I have all of them, although do I have 2? I think I do. High School Musical 3, I've already gone on about it. I love it. I love High School Musical. 10 out of 10, basically. Next up, another chick flick. We have Angus Thongs and Perfect Snogging, one of my fave. So iconic, so British, so good. Like, you got Aaron Taylor-Johnson as Robbie, so hot. Like, me watching this as a kid, I was like, whoa. Like, I think he was like part of my sexual awakening. Like, seeing him, I was like, whoa. Like, yeah, this film is so good. It's so funny, it's so cute, and it's cringe, but it's cringe in like the best way. Like, yeah, I love Angus Thongs and Perfect Snogging very much. Next, we have Promising Young Woman, and this was directed by Emerald Fennell, who also did Saltburn. I really enjoyed Promising Young Woman. I really liked it. I loved seeing the subversion that happens in the movie. I love the twist in the movie. Like, I didn't see it coming, and I really liked it. I just really like it in general. Like, there's so many things about this film that I really like. I really enjoyed it, and I think it's a very important movie, and I will continue to watch it, basically. We got 2 left, and they're both iconic chick flicks. Next up, we have one of my absolute favorites of all time, and this is Bride Wars with Anne Hathaway and Kate Hudson. This movie, I don't know why, it's like one of my favorites of all time. Like, I love it so much. This is like comfort movie to the max. I love it so much. Like, I'll just cry my eyes out. It'll make me feel again. Like, it just, I love it so much. It's such a good movie. It's all about these two women who end up having their wedding on the same day, but they're best friends, and essentially this like tears their friendship apart, and it's all about this. And like, it is a bit of a comedy, like it's a bit comedic, but I love it so much, and I think it's so heartfelt and just all about female friendship. And yeah, I just love it. I love it so much, and I will continue to love it because it's so good. And then finally, for this section of the tour, we have another chick flick, Wild Child. Again, another classic that I love so much. I rewatched it recently, and it's just so good. It's just so good. It's just iconic. Like, you got Emma Roberts coming to the UK to be in a UK boarding school, and I love it. It's so quotable, and it's so good, and it's definitely one of my fave chick flicks. Okay, that was it for part 1 of my film shelf tour. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got a look into my film taste. As I said, these are all the films with like the lighter covers, so they tend to be certain types of films. We'll see what happens when we go and look at the other side of this shelf. To be honest, I don't think it'll be that much difference, like thinking about the films I actually have. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed me going through the movies that I have. My DVDs mean so much to me. Like, I love collecting them, and I want to continue collecting them, and I just love them so much. They're like, I just love them. They're my favorite things to collect, and I love displaying them as well, like displaying the things that I love and being like, look at these amazing movies that I have. And also I can watch them whenever I want. Like, I have a DVD player, duh, like imagine if I didn't, and I have all these DVDs. But yeah, so I just love having them. I love being able to watch my favorite movie whenever. Like, that's great, and not having to like see if it's on a streaming service. I have it, so I can just watch it, and I love that. So yeah, I'll see you in part 2 for the second half of my tour. Bye.